I'm Adora Nwofor, and today we'll meet some uniquely talented Calgarians who are taking their creativity to new heights by diversifying and sharing their skills. On this episode, we find some colorful birds and blooms in Dover.
Their beauty that they created just really lit up our community garden.
We hear about the importance of preserving the art of storytelling.
Every single civilization that has lived on this earth has had an oral storytelling tradition.
And we also run off to join the circus.
One of my jobs is to show people, things that they've never seen before.
This and more on Living a Creative Life. It's springtime in Calgary, and I could not be any more excited for what's next. I feel like this is a new beginning for what you can create, what I can create, and what's happening in the world. COVID forced us to change, to find out that your audience isn't necessarily going to give you the feedback right away. As a comedian, it's been a little difficult for me, but that means that I now have to look inward. Whether you've grown today, yesterday, or it's going to be in the future, we are so happy that you're living a creative life, expressing yourself, and making the world a better place. Let's check out what's fresh on the socials. At Fire_Power shows us one last look at winter with their digital painting of Mount Columbia. At Hispanic Arts is doing an open call for their virtual exhibition, Now and Then, Tales of Immigration and Resiliency. At Group.of.8 is holding an art sale that will help provide some much needed donations to the Calgary Food Bank. Let's check in with Lanre and see what he's up to next.
In case you missed last month's edition of Ethnic Festival of Art and Culture, go ahead to my YouTube channel, Lanre Ajayi, to catch a glimpse of what went down. Amazing content all over the province, and it's been just something else. The ratings are going off the roof. Adora, it's over to you. Thank you for doing an amazing job. See you next one. Bye for now.
Minutes west of Calgary is a special studio where a monumental family biz is one of the creative outlets of Karen Begg, an artist who engaged a community for a different kind of art installation.
I'm third generation in a family business. It was started with my grandfather and my folks. Currently, I have more than 400 life-size or larger works worldwide.
Tell me some of the things that you can see within Cochrane or Calgary that are Studio West. Is this chicken somewhere, someplace?
Yes, that was part of a bigger statue, and it's a larger-than-life-size woman with chickens. And it was to commemorate egg money, which was a way for pioneer women to generate a little bit of income.
So I feel like because you have so many great skills, maybe you could show me a little bit of where it goes from here.
The raw bronze is quite gold in color. It has to be heated with a torch, and then chemicals are applied, and the chemicals are patinas.
Oh! Oh!
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab that brush, dip it in the material there, and if you do a little bit on the tail, I'll follow you along and heat it up. You can rub it like you mean it.
Oh! So don't touch it is what I just learned.
No problem. The idea is to heat it evenly so it doesn't get burnt.
And you can see how the color is deepening from where it started. It's a little browner.
Once it's all even, we will go along and we will seal it with paste wax to make it durable for outdoors. So they can go in the garden or they can stay in the home.
I want to talk a little bit about what you were doing through COVID to continue creating.
During COVID, I felt that some of our seniors in Dover, my community where I live in Calgary, I was worried about their isolation. So I designed a senior safe kit, and the kit included a wooden cutout, a canvas, paints, a number of brushes that the seniors could paint. They got to keep the canvas and all the paints, and the cutout they painted was returned to me, and I put it together, all 74 cutouts, as a public art installation at the Twin Views Communal Garden in West Dover. I wanted the seniors to feel part of our community while they were going through isolation, and their expertise and their beauty that they created just really lit up our community garden.
So Karen, what is really important to you about being creative and sharing that creativity with your community?
I truly believe the arts are make the world go round, whether it be music or visual arts. You know, everybody can use a little bit more beauty in the world. I think it's really important. I'm proud to work in a business that commemorates important Canadian events and people, and the arts just touch every facet of our lives.
For 40 years, Storytelling Alberta has put a contemporary spin on the ancient art form of telling a tale. And today, while we remain isolated and apart, they continue to bring us together through the power of storytelling.
Now, I could go on and on about the etymological background and how language changes and morphs, or I could tell you a story.
Well, Storytelling Alberta has been around for 40 years, and during that whole time, we've had a very solid mandate of celebrating and promoting the oral tradition. So the ancient art of oral storytelling, which goes back to the beginnings of humanity. Every single civilization that has lived on this earth has had an oral storytelling tradition. And so we are keeping that going.
Since 2020, we're in a pandemic, and being creative is a little more complicated, let's say.
Good word, complicated. Yes, it definitely has been. Before the pandemic, we performed in every venue you can possibly imagine, but we have been able to reinvent ourselves in the most amazing ways. I think the best example of how it's changed is our Story Share project. We offer 3 services through the Story Share project. One of them is the one-on-one sessions, and the second is the tell-around, or the warm story sharing circle, and that's up to 7 seniors. And then we have our Legacy project. And the Legacy project entails us recording the stories of elders in the Calgary area.
Now, in 1664, this man, Peter van Stuyvesant, well, he heard that there was a British military expedition coming to take over his unassuming settlement of New Amsterdam.
We have, I believe it's 20 legacy videos up now, and those stories range from wartime stories to farm life stories. For instance, one gentleman told a story about his 70th birthday, and his kids got him a flight in a fighter plane in the US. So he actually had video footage of it as well. So we incorporated video footage into the Legacy video.
You'll suddenly see right in the distance there is the enemy. He's flying from right to left, and I'm tracking him behind him. I'm going to go in, and here I am. I'm zooming in with my rudder to connect, and there I've hit the gun button.
We're so proud of those because they've been visited so often, and they just tell those amazing stories.
I want to talk about the Indigenous program that you have.
At night, he would remove his boots, slip on his moccasins, creep silently into the enemy camp as they slept.
We have 2 very active members of Storytelling Alberta. Cheryl Chagnon Grey Eyes, who's well known in the community, and then her daughter Chantal Chagnon is also. But Cheryl Chagnon Grey Eyes, she did a whole workshop on how to tell Indigenous stories, and can you tell Indigenous stories, right? Where are those lines? How do you approach that whole topic of cultural stories from a really respectful position? So that was incredibly interesting and helpful to our members. As soon as you share a story with somebody, particularly a personal story, but even any other kind of story, you make a connection that's very powerful. So there's the power of story to go a little bit deeper than we normally go with each other every single day.
We've seen physically distant concerts, but how about the circus? Let's discover how the carnival experience has been reinvented for a safe and exhilarating live show. We have Tony and Kelly here to talk to us about their creative experience. How long has Le Cirque de Nuit been an organization?
Since 2013, actually, homegrown right here in Calgary, Alberta. We were a group of artists and friends in the arts community that just decided we wanted to create something different. Inspired a lot through the sort of magical world created out of the Night Circus, a book by Aaron Morgenstein. It brings me so much joy to get artists on stage and, you know, getting them paid to do what they love.
You know, I think as a performer that one of my jobs is to show people, you know, things that they've never seen before, you know, and just create little beautiful moments of surprise. And if we as an organization are able to create moments of surprise, for example, by performing in a big hotel lobby and creating an opportunity for people to, you know, dance safely up in their own balconies, then I think we're doing our job. And what I'd like to see is even more of these really innovative, creative forms of expression for many, many more performers. I had a roommate who dragged me to the pub, sat down for a beer. We got talking to our waitress, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you do juggling. You need to audition for this circus that's in Calgary." And I mean, if you could see it, my jaw dropped. I was like, "There's a circus in Calgary, what?" And so I looked up Le Cirque de la Nuit and found that they were holding auditions, and I auditioned. And that was way back in 2013, and I've been performing with them ever since.
I heard that you have a day job that is also a little bit creative. Can you tell us a little more about that, please?
Well, I'd be absolutely delighted to tell you about that. Yeah, so when I'm not performing, I work as a coach and a workshop facilitator, specifically on teaching people communication skills. I talk to strangers so much that when I had this downtime from performing, I took the liberty of writing a book called Talk to More People, which is a book that literally teaches people how to change their life by meeting people. And it's based on a journey of mine where I intentionally met at least one new stranger every day for a whole year.
What are you finding is the response from your audience in that community?
I'd say that, you know, in a word, we could describe the response as electric. You know, people are so excited to move and dance and hear, you know, a live DJ and to see things that they don't normally get to see.
This is what makes us thrive. This is why we do what we do. We pride ourselves on being a leader in our industry and being able to create a, you know, artistic collaborative platform for these artists. So we're super happy to be working with Hotels Live here at the Delta Calgary South Hotel to put on live performances.
We're almost at the end of a long, tough winter. So thank you to all you creative Calgarians for brightening our days with your art and helping us all hang in there. If you have a project, story, or example of living creatively, please share to submissions@calgaryartsdevelopment.com or with the hashtag YYCLCL.